The nation witnessed a sharply contrasting display of political theatre and substantive policy-making during a recent televised roundtable. On one side stood Congresswoman Karoline Leavitt, delivering biting sarcasm and pointed jabs. On the other, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, whose calm demeanour and meticulous preparation would soon redirect the conversation from showmanship to tangible reform. What began as a viral moment of political sparring evolved into a testament to the power of deep research and strategic discipline, a transformation that reshaped public perception, swayed unlikely allies, and set a new standard for legislative leadership. The exchange unfolded under the bright lights of a national broadcast studio. Leavitt, eyes trained on her colleague across a glossy table, unleashed a volley of half-formed critiques designed to cast Crockett as unprepared and out of touch. "You don't actually believe that's a real solution, do you?" Leavitt mocked. Her voice, placed with enough sarcasm to draw laughter from the live audience. Producers and viewers alike braced for Crockett's retort, only to be met with polite silence. After a deliberate pause, Crockett leaned forward and with quiet assurance stated, "I bring receipts." That simple declaration, free of rancour or theatrics, punctured Leavitt's momentum more effectively than any sharp rejoinder ever could. Backstage, Crockett and her aide Liana assessed the fallout. Liana, visibly irritated by her boss's measured response, pressed, "She really thinks she got you." Crockett replied simply, "She did what she needed to do, but that doesn't mean I didn't." The emphasis was on process rather than punchlines. For weeks prior, Crockett had immersed herself in data, community testimonies, and budget analyses, work unseen by television audiences, but now poised to speak louder than any soundbite. Why most contestants in political skirmishes celebrate a viral victory, Crockett saw the televised encounter merely as an opening gambit. On her flight to Providence, Rhode Island, she opened her laptop and turned months of research into a cohesive legislative proposal. This working draft combined real-world stories, like that of Alonzo, a former Marine in Hartford, evicted by delays in veterans' assistance, and granular budget projections, structural timelines, and clear funding breakdowns. Each statistic was footnoted, every data point traceable to a verifiable source. By the time the plane began its descent, the proposal was nearly complete. That evening, Crockett worked in the modest hotel room she favoured, practical, unadorned, chosen for its quiet. Liana arrived with takeout, noting that Crockett had not eaten since dawn. "People think you lost tonight," the aide observed. Crockett paused, then replied, "Let them. They're running with clips like it's a slam dunk. A good soundbite dies in a day. Policy lives longer." By 5 a.m., she had emailed the final draft to her legislative director in Washington. At 6 a.m., her communications team received a succinct draft statement. At 6:30 a.m., the press release, the proposal, and a PDF titled "The Work They Refused to Do" were in the public domain. No podium, no press conference, just unvarnished policy details. Journalists and congressional staffers, buried under morning briefings and newsletters, initially overlooked the email. Then, at 7:42 a.m., an assistant editor at the Philadelphia Inquirer opened it. 10 minutes later, the Dallas Morning News flagged it. By 8 a.m., a researcher at Face the Nation forwarded it upward with the note, "You'll want to read this." The release did not screen for attention. It quietly guided its audience through systemic failures, federal delays, state-level loopholes, and the tangible hardships faced by families. Almost imperceptibly, Leavitt's earlier performance began to pale. Leavitt, meanwhile, attempted to reclaim the narrative. In a conservative podcast appearance, she dismissed Crockett's proposal as flashy and mathematically unsound. Unbeknownst to her, Reuters fact-checkers were already dissecting the numbers. By the time her second interview aired, Reuters had confirmed the proposal's projections. Headlining, "Crockett's proposal checks out. Leavitt's critique does not." Leavitt's communications director, Seth, messaged frantic notes. "Stop saying the math is wrong. It's not. People are noticing." But Leavitt stayed the course, though her talking points increasingly rang hollow. Major media segments soon turned focus. PBS NewsHour devoted 6 minutes to unpacking the proposal, featuring interviews with affected families, a bus driver in Baltimore, a teacher in Wichita, a grandmother in El Paso. NPR labelled Crockett's approach what truly stunned political insiders, praising the restraint and results. Morning Joe convened a former strategist for Leavitt's campaign, who conceded on air, Jasmine Crockett played this masterfully. She let the work speak, and the work is airtight. Throughout these developments, Crockett declined further interviews. Her only public statement, "I'd rather spend my time fixing problems than commenting on someone else's mistakes." That line, simple and unadorned, was quoted across outlets from The Guardian to the Associated Press to USA Today. Constituents, no longer satisfied with spectacle, began emailing Leavitt's office in droves, polite, persistent inquiries about the proposal. Some shared their own hardship stories. Others demanded alternatives. Leavitt's vague rebuttal, "We're reviewing all policy proposals and will continue to support smart targeted solutions," satisfied no one. Comments on social media shifted from supportive to skeptical. Even radio allies questioned where her counterplan resided. Meanwhile, Crockett's silence grew louder, her omitted rebuttal speaking volumes. By the end of the week, Crockett's proposal cleared its first vote in the House Subcommittee on Housing and Community Development. 6 yes votes, including 1 Republican and 1 independent. Leavitt's name was absent from the committee notes. In St Paul, Crockett held a town hall before 200 constituents, parents, veterans, students, seniors, without a desk or a lectern, speaking in a deep blue sweater and worn sneakers. She emphasised, "I don't care who gets the credit. I care that no veteran sleeps in their car next winter, that no mom works 2 jobs and still can't afford a 1-bedroom apartment." The audience responded with sustained, heartfelt applause. In contrast, Leavitt's scheduled fundraiser in Cincinnati was cancelled at the last minute. The host cited the volatile climate. On Monday, the Boston Globe headline captured the shift succinctly. Crockett builds while Leavitt burns. Leavitt's afternoon statement claimed she was deeply misunderstood, but few listened anymore. The narrative had shifted irreversibly from which congresswoman could deliver the sharper soundbite to which could deliver substantive change. Crockett's focus never wavered. A week later, in Akron, Ohio, she addressed a modest gathering at St. Mark's Community Center. No press, just folding chairs and homemade refreshments. A retired school nurse, Mrs. Dorsey, shook her hand and said through tears, "You don't know what this means to us." Crockett listened intently, then replied, "I think I do, but I still want to hear it from you." That exchange, personal and unscripted, crystallized her approach. Prioritize people over publicity. Back in Washington, Leavitt's meltdown accelerated. Her communications team splintered. Key advisors resigned. Donors grew silent. Meanwhile, Crockett prepared for the House floor debate on the full bill. Her final moment of restraint. When her turn came, she offered a concise, unemotional statement. This is for people who stopped asking for help a long time ago because they were tired of being ignored. Today we show them they were never invisible. The vote closed at 229 in favour and 204 against. The chamber did not erupt. It settled into respectful stillness, an outcome earned by substance. As reporters awaited her outside, Crockett's only remark to one final question, "Do you feel like you finally got the last word?" was, "There was never supposed to be a last word, just better ones." She sipped away quietly, embodying her own lesson, that real change springs from action, not noise, and that policy grounded in lived experience outlasts any fleeting spectacle. In the end, the loudest victories proved to be those that needed no audible triumph at all.